You're listening to the No Labels, No Limits podcast with best-selling author Sarah Box, where you get the inside scoop on the steps action takers and decision makers take to align their purpose to their principles and achieve their goals in business and life. We focus on the mantra, no labels, no limits, no excuses. And now, without further ado, please welcome your commanding coach with plenty of chutzpah and heart, Sarah Box.
Hey there, it's Sarah, and I want to welcome you personally to this very special edition of the No Labels, No Limits podcast. This is a new series that we just started, and we are so excited to introduce you to Moments with Maria. This series is a shorter version of the podcast. Maria touches upon words of advice and wisdom and encouragement that are shared by the members of our community, for the members of our community, and to all of you beyond. So without further ado, let's welcome Maria.
All right. Hello and welcome. My name is Maria Lees. I'm the content writer for Team Sarah Box, and this is another video in our series in which different members of our Sarah Box community are sitting down with me to share some advice, wisdom, encouragement, just a little bit of goodness to bring to the world. And joining me today are two very passionate, incredible women, Holli and Jeanna. Together, they host the fun and innovative podcast Uncorked, and their mission is to help women get in touch with their inner badassery, which I gotta say, that stuck out to me. I really love that. Well, Holli and Jeanna, welcome.
Thank you so much. We're excited to be here. Yay.
Thrilled to be here.
Absolutely. Well, we are thrilled to have you. Just to kind of get started, I would love if you could just each maybe share just a little bit more about yourselves and how the Uncorked podcast and this work that you do kind of came to be.
Great.
I love it. You want me to start, Jeanna?
Yes, please. I call her the boss lady. She's the brains of the operation. So there you go.
Yeah, right.
Every operation needs one.
Yes, indeed. Her brain is better than mine. So there you go.
I don't think so. Actually, Jeanna actually ended up hiring me. So we worked at a corporate office. She's the director of HR. And I ended up being part of a CFO. And so we worked together for 20 years at a corporate office, became really good friends, really used a lot of, I guess, law of attraction principles and things to kind of navigate the corporate world, and had fun doing that. And we have now created the podcast about 3 years ago when we were traveling in awful traffic, and I bugged my eyes out at her. And what did I say, Jeanna?
We have to start a podcast and you are coming with me. That's what she said.
I can't do it without you.
It was 6:30 in the morning. Nobody needs any of this business at 6:30 in the morning, but she scared me. And I said, okay, that's what we did. That's the podcast. Yes.
That is awesome. Honestly, that is admirable that you've got that much passion and energy before 7 a.m.
And who knew that the HR gal and the CFO were the fun ones of the crowd, but we were.
Finance, yeah.
We very much were, yes.
Go accountants. Okay, there we go.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I guess that just reminds all of us that you can't put people in a box. Anybody can surprise you, right?
That's sure.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. That's wonderful. Well, I know that you both you have a list of Uncorked Badassery Principles that you live by. And I saw that title and I was like, okay, now I am curious. I would like to know more about these and where they came from. So I would love if you could just share with our audience a little bit about these principles and how they came to be.
Well, early in our, evolution of the podcast, we were thinking about like, what do we want people to walk away with? And these just sort of bubbled up. We took a trip to Miami, which were very silly. When we go to Miami, when we go anywhere, we're silly. We took a trip there and all of a sudden these things just poured out of us. And one of my personal favorites is shame and guilt is just clown shit. Okay. And
clown shit. And listen, Maria, nobody likes clowns. I mean, clowns, no. I don't even understand why we have clowns. No. They scare the children. They scare the adults.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you 100%.
Shame and guilt are clowns. They just need to go. They need to go away. They need to get in their little clown car, all 18, 19 of them, and go. Go. That's what we think.
Well, and part of it is that I feel like shame and guilt is, when you look at the vibrational scale of energy, it is actually the lowest. So we'd rather be angry. So Jeanna, let's be angry because we're higher up the scale than shame and guilt is the lowest. And so we wanted to make sure that we played with it. So these principles are like, they're play, but they're real. And that was one of them. And then the only diet we endorse is a judgment-free diet. So the other thing that we struggle as humans, and we can't ever not judge. That's just like, you got to throw that out the window too, but you can lean in that direction and not judge, because what we're doing isn't good for us. And doesn't.
Well, and when we're judging too, when we're judging people, oftentimes the judgment is about something in yourself. It's really less about what you're judging and who you're judging and there's something in you that you should invite and open up and try to understand, because judgment comes from within. It is. And so there's a little work to be done, and who doesn't want a little dial up on ourselves as we continue along our journey and in pursuit of the best version of ourselves. Right. And so anytime those judgments creep in, it's an opportunity, an invitation really for you to reflect and understand better. So, the other thing, and I often was victim to this, but I'm a pleaser by nature. I'm in reforming as we speak, but my pleasing nature, our number one principle, not that they're in priority order by any means, but it is the first of the principle. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And when I say hell yes, it's like, hell yes, I want to do that. Versus if it's not that at your core, it's a no.
Yeah.
It's a no.
And we never apologize. Apologize. For
never apologize.
How you feel. And that's a hard one to do, because I think we all have a little bit of wanting to not let people down.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you say yes and you really don't want to go, what happens is you show up and your energy isn't a gift at that point in time. It's really not, unless you change your opinion before you go and say, okay, it is a hell yes. And so we're like, be careful with how you navigate your own energy and what you give to others. That's an important thing, even though it's not wrapped up in a red bow. You're still giving and receiving energy all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. What you said specifically, Jeanna, really resonated with me about being a pleaser and having to kind of figure out how to actually say hell yes or hell no to something. And mean it and follow through. I struggle with that a lot. It's something that I'm actively working on, and I know I'm not the only one. And so I would love to hear just, as I know you both have worked on this in your own journeys and have probably been walking alongside other people that are in the process of figuring out how to live that out well. Do you have any advice for where to start or how to get better at, being firm in your commitments and boundaries?
Sure. Well, I think you're absolutely right. I think I'm so blessed to have Holly in my life on this journey with me. And she has over the years taught me so much of these principles and been my mirror often of holding it up and saying, this is what I'm seeing. This is how you're showing up. I know that's not you. And, and here, might I make some suggestions, or can I challenge you on something? And that's a real gift to have those kinds of friends in your life that are willing to hold the mirror up and say the things that really inspire change. Often we don't see it in ourselves. And so I think that's number one. If you find those friends, treasure them, welcome them, openly ask for that sort of a partnership and relationship, because, and that gives everybody a chance to practice helping grow each other. And so those car rides, in addition to the scary eyes that one morning, they were full of really deep conversation and challenging ourselves. And we used the work environment to practice these principles and these rules. And it was incredible when you take accountability for the circumstance and not just kind of point the finger and think it's everybody else's issue, or that guy doesn't ever hear me. Like, be heard. Be heard. You're not being heard because you think you're not being heard. Be heard. And, just those kinds of things I think are really, really critical. And then you just knowing that these principles not only make you happy, and fulfilled, and it creates a community around you who know that they are getting the full you when you show up, that your energy is going to be great when you show up because it's something you full body yes to, right? And I think that's a big energy, and the management of our energy that's all we are. And that's our responsibility to do it. And nobody wants half a Jeanna at anything. Nobody, because it's felt, right? And I'm sure they might be happy that I'm there, but that doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel good to those. So that's what I would say about that. I don't know, Holly, what wisdom the brain to the operation has, but that's my 2 cents on that.
Very, very funny. No, thank you for that, Jeanna. I think accountability partner is really good. And I think I would just add one thing that I don't think we understand when we're pleasing. And that is, and I've seen this in action, the more we try to please, the less pleasing we are. So, and I've watched it in a meeting, and Jeanna, if you don't mind, I watched it in a corporate meeting a gazillion years ago. So it was a long time ago. And Jeanna was like just killing it with her ideas. And the executives at the time, they're not the same executives now, but the executives at the time were like, they were like having no part of it. I was just a silent observer. And then she started changing and trying to figure out what they wanted and trying to, be the chameleon and actually give them you could tell them they didn't like it even more. And what I've seen is the evolution of now when Jeanna stands in her power and delivers her ideas are amazing. And that's what we want, are those authentic ideas. When she stands in that and doesn't waver, it's like she is pleasing. Okay. And so the problem is pleasers don't know, the more they please, the more unpleasing they are. It's an absolute reverse impact.
So very true. God, you can see why she's friends. That was really good.
Yeah. It was one of those mic drop moments. Huh?
Yeah, that was good. Yes.
Absolutely. No, and I think that is such a powerful message to kind of let our audience sit with for a minute, because I think for so many of us, and, I speak as somebody that is a pleaser and, does have that natural tendency. I think we can tell ourselves that somehow it's selfish to try to figure out what I need and what I want and to be firm in that. But I think what I'm hearing you both say, and I think there's so much truth in this, is that by choosing to, prioritize our needs and our desires, our wants, our preferences, etc., we become better for other people. Like, that actually is a gift to other people.
Yes.
And, we need to realize that
oh, very
this
true.
is
yes.
What selflessness looks like. This, it's just a different definition, I think.
It's beautifully said. And I would say further, and I've never said this before, so brace yourself, Jeanna.
Oh God.
I think, so Maria has inspired me to say, I think we should abolish the word being selfishness. I don't think there's any such thing as that. And particularly when it comes to somebody who's a pleaser. And I think the more that you can do to be authentic to yourself, the more you will give back to others. And so I'd like to get rid of that word entirely and blow it off the planet. Maybe that should be badassery number 11.
Yeah, to the moon with the selfish. Yeah. Well, I do think, I actually very much admire people who, at least in the current definition of selfish, that have that. I do. I think it is a superpower of people to have enough self-respect, self-confidence, knowing that, it's like on the airplane, they say to put your mask on before you help others, right? Mm-hmm. Take care of yourself first. And so selfish whether it's self-care, selfishness, whatever, I actually think that is a real superpower, and we should all embrace that. Even if we abolish and send to the moon the selfishness part.
Absolutely. So. I'm on board with sending it to the moon. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. To the moon.
All right. Well, thank you so much for all that you have both shared with us today, Holli and Jeanna. I know that I have certainly enjoyed this conversation. It's been a lot of fun and very insightful, and I'm sure that our watching and listening audience will enjoy it as well. But before you go, if you had to leave our community with just one final message or quick parting word, they'd be.
Wow. Well, thank you, Maria. Thanks for having us. We appreciate being here. So that's hard for us to condense anything, Maria. Hard, very hard.
One is tough, Maria. One's tough.
I know. I feel like the item of the day for me is really to feel our feelings and not to fear having those feelings. So if we're angry, let's just be angry and not judge it, or not think how long, or criticize how long we're feeling sad or any of that. So just feel your feelings today. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
And you move through things and get to manifestation and get to things so much quicker if we don't resist that. So anyway, go ahead, Jeanna.
Yes, no, I think that's perfect. And then when you're in a space where you can be silly, and fun, number 9 on our Badassery, silly fun is a part of the whole experience. It's a big part. It's a key part. Mm-hmm. You know, in everything you do, even the laundry, even the stuff we don't want to do, it's a mindset. It can be fun. Find the fun. If it ain't fun, don't do it. So make it fun. And even if it's just, thinking about something fun, or using that time to listen to something that inspires you, or a great tune, find fun in the things in all things, the glimmer of fun, make it fun. Life is so much lighter and more fulfilling if there's an element of fun in all you do. So
I love that, Jeanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel the feelings and find the fun. Those are 2 golden nuggets for us all to chew on today.
See, you took our 2 and made it 1, Maria. Look how good you are. This is perfect. Yeah.
That's so good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, as always, thanks to those who've carved out a few minutes to sit with us today and to watch this video. Stay tuned for more encouraging and uplifting content coming your way.
You've been listening to the No Labels, No Limits podcast with best-selling author, change agent, and strategic vision coach, Sarah Box. You can grab the show notes and find out how to work with Sarah at sarahbox.com/No Labels, No Limits podcast. We'd love this podcast to reach as many people as possible. So please remember to rate, leave a 5-star review, and share the podcast with someone you think would get value from this conversation. Until next time, keep taking those daily action steps to align your purpose to your principles and achieve your goals in business and life.